called the Monster, celebrating tonight.
Yes, indeed, Anton. Australia has its first ever Super Bowl champion, even if he didn't take to the field in a single game this season. Jesse Williams, who was sidelined due to a knee injury, received an NFL championship ring after his side crushed the Denver Broncos. It was the Seattle Seahawks' maiden Super Bowl title.
As the Seattle Seahawks entered the stadium, it already resembled a victory procession. Following the pomp and ceremony of the build-up, a false start to Super Bowl 48.
Seattle's a visiting team. Who's going to call the toss?
Seattle eventually won the toss. The Broncos shot themselves in the foot on their first play. Quarterback Peyton Manning clutching at thin air. Seattle on the board just 12 seconds in. A Super Bowl record.
It's a safety to start this game.
If the halftime entertainment didn't get the fans pumped up, wide receiver Percy Harvin soon had them on their feet, scoring from the kickoff.
And Percy Harvin gets free. Percy Harvin inside the 30. He's going to go. Touchdown, Seattle.
The Broncos defence had no answer to the onslaught. By the third quarter, the men in orange might as well have waved the white flag. Seattle's 25-year-old quarterback, Russell Wilson, had a field day.
Smaller target, and he goes in for the touchdown.
The coach was bathed in Gatorade well before full time, and afterwards it rained ticker tape, a worthy celebration to mark Seattle's first ever championship.
At the beginning of the season, I told the guys, hey, why not us?
Among those celebrating, Australia's Jesse the Monster Williams. Kept out of action because of a knee injury this season, he'll party with the champions tonight. Bez Hammerley, World News Australia.
To football now, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has returned Arsenal to the top of the Premier League. England's 20-year-old midfielder renewed the Gunners' title hopes with a double against Crystal Palace. Liverpool was held to a draw. Daniel Sturridge's 50th career league goal put the visitors on course to retain their 4-point cushion over Everton. However, a horrendous error by defender Kolo Touré gave Liverpool's top four rivals renewed hope. West Brom's Victor Anichebe pouncing on the mistake for the equaliser. While Arsenal's Oxlade-Chamberlain finally ended Palace's resistance when he chipped in just after the restart. He then made sure of victory in the 73rd minute. Arsenal now move 2 points above Manchester City, who host third-place Chelsea tomorrow. In Spain, Atletico Madrid has pummeled Real Sociedad 4-0 to take sole possession of the lead in La Liga for the first time this season. David Villa, Diego Costa, Miranda and the newly arrived Diego all found the back of the net. Atletico holds a 3-point advantage over Barcelona and Real Madrid. And in Italy Serie A, Juventus has pulled 9 points clear at the top of the table by punishing traditional rivals Inter Milan. Stefan Lichtsteiner struck the first blow, while Giorgio Chiellini scored just after half-time. Arturo Vidal adding a third to ensure a 3-1 victory. Brian O'Driscoll's 14th and final Six Nations campaign is off to a winning start, with Ireland trouncing Scotland 28-6. The hosts found the first 5-pointer late in the first half, with Andrew Trimble on the end of a slick backline movement. But the Irish pack weren't about to be outdone, Jamie Heaslip claiming try number 2. Rob Kearney putting the icing on the cake in his 50th match. To cricket, and Tim Payne has publicly apologised for suggesting the undefeated Melbourne Stars were rorting the Big Bash salary cap. The former Australian international had been threatened with legal action by Melbourne Stars and Collingwood president Eddie Maguire. Today, the Hobart Hurricanes wicketkeeper conceded his remarks were in poor taste.
I apologise to the entire Melbourne Stars organisation. In no way did I intend to question their integrity, the players, management or the board.
The Stars players will have a chance to respond to Payne's comments when they take on the Hobart Hurricanes in the semi-finals tomorrow at the MCG. Meanwhile, England's disastrous tour of Australia has ended with a crushing 84-run defeat in Sydney. Another electrifying innings from George Bailey placed the hosts in the box seat. England leave Australia with just one win from their past 13 matches.
Aaron Finch was on the charge early in Sydney.
And safe. All the way she goes.
Cameron White joining him, the duo crushing the tourists' confidence.
He'll need a big heart to come back from that one.
Joe Root weaved some magic.
Oh, good catch. Terrific catch.
The celebrations short-lived. George Bailey straight on the attack.
Seen all he needs to see.
The Aussie skipper lighting the fuse on the last 6 balls.
Watch it down the ground. Mid-off's up.
Bailey blasting 26 off Jade Dernbach's final over.
It's out and it's in the slot. And it's over the road.
The Tasmanians 49 coming off just 20 balls.
Oh, one bounce.
England needed an electrifying start. They didn't get it.
Yeah, good catch again.
The tourists limping at 3 for 25 before Owen Morgan started swinging.
Yeah, 6.
Any chance of a fight back soon vanishing.
Wade loves it. Preston's back foot straight out.
The James Muirhead masterclass continuing.
Now, 2 to Muirhead.
England's been in a spin all summer. The tourists tangled up in their 12th loss over 3 formats. The humiliation complete.
Could be right out. Yeah, it is. It's all over.
Nick Vinden, World News Australia.
To tennis, and Pat Rafter says he's committed to leading Australia as Davis Cup captain, despite France completing a 5-0 thrashing in their World Group tie. Tanazi Kokkinakis was easily accounted for by Julian Benneteau 6-4, 6-1, while Nick Kyrgios fared slightly better against Gael Monfils, losing 7-6, 6-4. The defeat means Australia will return to the World Group playoffs in September against a yet-to-be-determined opponent. To golf, and America's Kevin Stadler has carded a 3-under-68 to take a one-stroke victory at the Phoenix Open. He was locked at 16 under with playing partner Bubba Watson approaching the 18th. However, Watson blew his approach, bogeying the final hole as Stadler kept his cool to secure a par and the tournament. The AFL's first Sudanese player, Majak Dor, has today opened a clinic aimed at immigrant families and their children in Melbourne. Dor says he hopes the first kick program will help produce a new generation of Australian rules stars.
For many of these children, this is the first time they've ever held an Australian rules football. But having got the right boots fitted and worked out the basics, there's no stopping them. Majak Dor's first kick clinics are aimed at immigrant children and their families, where, unlike the schoolyard, they're all equal.
They won't feel disadvantaged in terms of being able to compete with with the kids that have grown up with footy and Australian kids over here. So it'll give them a leg up.
A Sudanese refugee, Dor says discovering the game in his teenage years meant he didn't have the natural ability to read the play.
If I had this opportunity when I was a lot younger, my football can definitely be a bit different, and just learning just the basics of football.
Dor says his program is aimed as much at immigrant families as it is at their children. Many are reluctant to send their children to Australian rules clinics because they simply don't know what the game is all about.
That was the biggest struggle with me, getting my parents to understand what I was trying to do and get them involved and have the support of mum and dad, and that's what we're trying to achieve here.
And Dor hopes that will lead to better relationships in the community as well.
It's also to give the parents an engagement and just let them know what their kids are doing. And football is a great, is a great vehicle to meet other people.
Dor says with an earlier grounding in the game, some of these children could form the next generation of AFL players. Glenn Osborne, World News Australia.
And finally in sport, tomorrow night we'll meet Australia's first Taekwondo world champion. Born in Melbourne to Polish refugees, Carmen Martin has also converted to Islam. And Martin, who is aiming for gold at the 2016 Rio Olympics, says she owes much of her success to her training partners, brother Jack and sister Caroline.
They've always been pushing me and they've never taken it easy on me, and they're very competitive and they're world-class athletes themselves.
That special feature tomorrow night on World News Australia. That's it in sport, guys. Keep in mind 9:30 p.m. SBS2 A-League highlights.